Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Saturday Morning Mastermind. I'm Samantha Studebaker-Carl here, broadcasting live from the beautiful Southwest Georgia. I'm here with my friends Danielle and Jason and Catherine and Dan and Sandy, and every week we get together and discuss different books that help us in our personal development or growing our business or just becoming a better version of ourselves. So I just want to say welcome to all of you who are out there in internet land watching us live this morning. First of all, before we get going, I want to just say that you may have found this video someplace on the web. I don't know where you would have found it, but I want to make sure that you can interact with us in the conversation. So jump to the page SaturdayMorningMastermind.com. That is our live event page, and there you can interact with us, comment below the video, and add to this discussion. And we want to be sure and just have a great open communication with everybody who is participating. But yeah, I want to go ahead and just let everybody introduce themselves really quick. And then we'll talk about, we'll discuss the topic, or we'll tell you what the topic is, and then we can kind of go from there. Okay, so go from there. Who wants to jump out first?
I'll go. Good morning, Sandy Root here in sunny Miami Beach, and looking forward to the discussion as always. It seems like it just gets better and better, so I'm excited.
Good morning, Danielle DeLyons in Anaheim, California, and excited to be back with everybody today. And definitely, like Sandy says, it's going to be a great session today. They always get better.
Hey, good morning. This is Jason Roberts, also in Florida, down here near Tampa, and I'm really excited to be here. Glad to see everybody, and yeah, I love all the information we're getting in this book, because it doesn't seem like I can get this information quick enough. Whenever I read it, there's always something in the past week or so that I really could have used the information. So looking forward to the discussion, and glad to see everybody here.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Dan Smith. I'm in Boise, Idaho, and we've had like record-setting cold temperatures. Now all of a sudden it's record-setting high temperatures, but raining. So anyways, we got a little bit of warmth coming in, but got a lot of moisture coming in. So life's good. So welcome everyone today.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Catherine Clement. I'm out here in Boulder, Colorado, and I had a train going by, so I wasn't going to come out first. But, yeah, we're having some of that crazy weather out here too, Dan, but I'm loving it. I'm loving the sun. So thank you, everyone, for joining us this morning. Really appreciate it. Thanks, everybody, for jumping out and introducing yourselves. Real quick, before we get going, I just want to jump over to our event page and welcome everybody who's hanging out with us there. Welcome, Marcia, Dan Sisek, Donna Allen. Oh, and thanks for that comment. I know, it's hard to believe I was shy at one point, right? That's a good one, Donna. Let's see who else. Sandy Johnson, welcome, welcome. And thank you, Sandy, for being so welcoming to everybody this morning. I appreciate that. Welcome, Christina. And okay, I think that's everybody who's commented over there. As you guys jump on, go ahead and just let us know where it is that you are in the world. Where are you hanging out from? What's the weather like in your side of the world? Okay, so wait, let me get back to the page where I can see us. There we go. Okay, so what we're doing today is we're actually continuing our discussion on the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People in the Digital Age by Dale Carnegie. And we are in, let's see, I think it's part 3, sorry guys, part 3, chapter 6, and the title is Surrender the Credit. And in this chapter, kind of the premise of the chapter is that when you help to lift others up, you have more success yourself. And this has got a lot of absolutely wonderful quotes and lessons and stories in it, and I've just been loving this chapter. But before we start just kind of discussing it, I wanted to kind of jump over to our pre-mastermind discussion and share some of the thoughts that that we had from different people who participated in that. And if you guys are wondering how to get to the pre-mastermind discussion, you can find it in our community, which is mindsetmasterycollective.com, and it is always the pinned post is our pre-mastermind discussion. So let me see here. I want to just I took some notes. I did something a little bit different this morning for so I could make sure and get some of these points that everybody added from the pre-mastermind discussion. But from Catherine, one of the things that she was talking about, she says she loves Mark Twain, and that she wanted to, or she says she's going to envision a conversation with him one day. I thought that would be awesome. But she said that one of the main points in this chapter was about, of course, gratitude and recognizing those around you. And I just wanted to say, that's an awesome part of this chapter is the fact that when we recognize each other, then that helps us move forward and be more successful. And that gratitude part is a huge thing, because we've talked in the past about how an attitude of gratitude can help you be more successful as well. And I just love the fact that you mentioned that in that section, Catherine. And then she also commented on there about the fact that we get together every week and we discuss our challenges and things that we've learned from each other, and we give each other credit, and that's one way that we lift one another up. And it isn't, she put the quote on there, success isn't about attention and accolades, it's about partnerships and progress. And then let's see here. Oh, I remember the quote that she also put in there about, she thought it was kind of, that maybe some of these network marketing companies put an air pump in the kits, like the beginning kits, that pump up everybody's egos. So I thought that was that was funny. But I don't know. You guys wanted to kind of jump out. Did everybody read some of the pre-mastermind discussion? I don't want to just be hogging the whole everything as we go along here. I want to include everyone.
Go ahead and hog it. It was late last night when I read it.
Awesome. How about this? How about we kind of start out with, I'll just pose a question. And then we can kind of add some of these pre-mastermind thoughts as we go along. So the question, of course, is, what, actually, I did post a question on here earlier. I want to see what everybody thinks about this one. We'll scroll down on the page here. Okay. So the question is, why do you think focusing on helping others succeed can cause you to be more successful? Of course, because that's the main topic of this chapter. And so as we're talking about this, everybody who's out there, why don't you add your thoughts in the discussion below the video here, and let us know what you think as well. What do you think the main reason is that helps everybody be successful? Who wants to jump out first?
Yeah, I'll jump out. Yeah, I don't know, this is the way I feel. I don't know if everybody in the world feels this way, but personally I don't like self-centered people. If somebody doesn't have their ego in check and they're bragging about themselves and it's going on and on and on, after a while it's just kind of a lot of hot air, and there was back in the mid 70s and into the mid 80s, there was a leader that I used to listen to, and he was a seven-figure earner, and in fact probably made over hundreds of millions of dollars in his life. But one of the things that always impressed me was how much that he gave all of the praise to other people. And I guess there's this balance between talking about yourself, because in a sense you do have to talk about yourself, but then how much of the spotlight do you try to point towards yourself, or how much do you actually point the spotlight onto other people. And that was one of the things that I was really impressed with him, was that that he built one of the largest multi-level businesses that's ever existed, and had over 1 million people in his downline. He just died like a year ago, but anyway, when it's all said and done, he had over 1 million people all around the world, and the sun never set on his business, so to speak. And yet, I'm not going to say particularly that he was a humble man, because he really wasn't what you necessarily a humble man, but nevertheless, he didn't spend an awful lot of time bragging on himself either, but he constantly built up other people, and just gave all this praise and all these accolades and everything to the people that were part of his group, that in a sense allowed him to be in the position where he was at. And so, really it just comes down to, I don't personally like to be around people that just go on and on and on about how great they are, because after a while it kind of turns your stomach, and you just kind of want to get away. So anyway, that's my perspective. I'll turn it over to somebody else.
Yeah.
I'll put it down. Oh, Sandy, go ahead. Go ahead, Sandy.
Sorry. Okay, thanks. Yeah, it just reminded me of a friend that I have in New York, and he's gotten to a successful place in where he wants to be, but he's very egotistical and self-centered about it. And I was a big part of helping him get where he was, and a lot of our close friends. And it's like there was never an acknowledgement or this reciprocation. It's just he sent out this email with his new bio, and it was just so pompous and arrogant. And like you said, Dan, it made my stomach turn, because it's always nice to be appreciated, and you'll get that reciprocation back. He's pushing people away. And we've worked with him in the past, and we're all like, ew, like he's got all this like ego going on, but there was never any appreciation for how he got there, for the people who helped him get there. And when you're helping other people succeed, they remember that for their life, and they're so grateful to you, and they're going to give that back. So you're automatically going to succeed if you're helping others succeed, because they want to reciprocate, and it's just builds on that camaraderie, and you just have this circle of awesomeness around you when you're all helping each other succeed and lifting each other up. So yeah, being alone out there with the ego, I don't know, it's much better to be surrounded by people who are all helping each other. So that's my points for now. Thanks, Danielle, for letting me go.
You're welcome. Yeah, I think we've all probably had experiences if we've been in networking for any period of time, and I just think about events that I go to, that the leaders that actually take the time to say thank you to the people that put them in that privileged position, like Dan says, that it's a humbling position if you see it the correct way, and you would see some leaders come up and they'd call it their team family, and then you'd have the people that came up and said, my team. And it was just that difference in just little words and how we felt about where we were at. And it brought to mind the book by Tony Robbins about standing on the shoulders of giants, and how really the ones below us many times that we should give the credit to, that put us sometimes where we're at, those are the giants in our life. And like in your situation, Sandy, what you're describing, I definitely understand that. Sometimes the ego gets in the way and they forget where they come from. And then the opposite, you'll see a group of people where they've had such an incredible person lead them and show them by example, by giving credit to so many people, that it just builds on each other. And it's a beautiful experience of energy.
One of the things about networking that I've seen, and of course they tell you when you come into it, but is that the people that you work with, the people that you form this team with, they're going to pretty much follow your lead. They're going to sort of do what you do. And so I think that's where you can lose the teamwork if ever, if you have a very egotistical leader and then everybody's following their lead and everybody's just into their own ego, but they're, like you said, Sandy, they're all out there by themselves. They're not, nobody's working together as a team. And really, with networking, any kind of business, when I say networking, I'm not necessarily referring to uh, an MLM business. It could be anything that you're doing or any relationship. Even, and I'm not the expert on marriages here, but but I do know what not to do. And in a relationship like that, that's another area where you have to give credit where credit's due. I often hear, especially men say, "Oh my gosh, she finally said I was right," or something like that. So, these are just, it's a recognition of people. There's so many of us out here, and we get lost. And something happened late last night. I needed to get to bed. It was about, I don't know, 12:30, 1 o'clock, and I was talking to someone online. I'm like, I've got to get to bed because I got to get up and do this thing in the morning. And he said he didn't know what a Google Hangout was. So that's what really tickles me. We get on here and people are so boastful and, oh, I'm the best internet marketer, blah, blah, blah. And there's people out there that have no idea what the internet even is. Their world is really not as, huge and impacting as they think it is sometimes. So. That's so true. It was Dan put a comment on here. He said from his seven-figure mentor he was talking about, he said it takes a big person to be big enough to pass on the praise to others and not feel diminished for doing it. And I think that's a powerful thing right there, because we think about it, we've got, the only way that we can truly have success in any business or any partnership is if we if we work together with other people. And when you sit there and you just try and take all the credit for yourself, or you only are focused on you, then no one else, it's really not a partnership at all, right? And so we're not as likely to have success if we don't work together. And that's kind of one of the biggest things is teamwork, is that we can all achieve so much more if we all work together to accomplish great things. It's just like this Saturday Morning Mastermind would not be what it is today if it wasn't for all of you hanging out with me all the time. I mean, it's not about me. This is about everybody, and all of you out there who are watching, is that we get on here so that we can work together to have more success, to become a better version of ourselves. And we can't do that alone. I mean, if we're just sitting out in the middle of the woods working on personal development, we don't ever communicate with anybody, we don't ever work together with anybody, it's like, what's the point in the first place, right? I mean, this is it's about all of us. But one of the things, the very first story in this chapter talks about how this one gentleman and another gentleman, they have this company, they work together to grow this company, but the one guy is always it's all about him. He's the one that did all the work. He all had this attitude of he's the one that made it all happen. He's the one that made them successful, even though the other person probably had a lot to do with it. He kept taking all the credit for himself, and eventually, because he was always trying to be right in every conversation and every argument and everything, that eventually that partnership fell apart. And and so now today he says, I'm a different person. Now I ask my partners about their goals before I set my own. Then I ask myself, what can I do to help this relationship lead to their goals? And then it says, while it's easy to see why we want credit for success for which we labored, claiming the credit will never win you friends. It will also diminish your influence quicker than just about any other action. And then it talks about who wants a friend that thinks it's all about them. I mean, who? I don't know anybody that is fun to be around if all they care about is themselves, right? But there's a couple comments. Let me just jump over here real quick. And Marcia says, I believe the magic starts when we help to leverage others and connect people to people. I love helping others. And that's absolutely right. And I can completely see that, Marcia. I mean, you are such a people connector, and I just love everything that you're doing over in the mentoring for free community here on Google Plus. And I'm sure that there's other places that you're working very hard to help people as well. But I love that community, by the way, guys. It's a wonderful place to be. Get with Marcia if you want to be a part of that. And then BG says, the principle of sowing and reaping, sowing into good ground will help your field grow, and the fruit friendships will be sweet. Absolutely, that is so true. And thanks for joining us this morning, BG. I didn't see you until just now. Dan says, I agree with BG. I will also say that out of my beliefs from what I've learned through my church, that this is another major principle in the Bible. Like bees, you attract more people with honey than vinegar. And that is so absolutely right, is that when you're being positive with other people and you're helping uplift other people, is that makes you so much more attractive than somebody who's just all about me, 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 me. So wonderful, wonderful. I wanted to just read another quote in here. It says, the principle suggested here is born not of attention-seeking activity, but rather of a supreme confidence that you are a far better person when those around you know they play an important role not only in the collaborative success, but in your personal success. And, and that was one of the biggest lessons that I kind of learned from this. And, of course, I already had a knowing of this lesson. But it's just the fact that we have to realize that, we are going to be more successful when we are working together with other people. And so one of the things that I started doing this week was I actually put a question on my my desktop background of, how can I help others be more successful today? What can I do today that is going to help other people be more successful? And that has helped me a lot this week. It's just kind of kept my focus in the right place, and I feel much more energetic and positive. And not that I wasn't focused on helping other people before, but it's almost like just shifting your mindset to where you should be focusing so that you can actually have more, get better results in your business. So what do you guys think?
I got a lot of thoughts while you all were talking. First of all, we read in a lot of these books the competitive kind of mindset versus the creative mindset, and it's like the people who are up in the ego world and thinking that they got their success all on their own, are in this competitive state where they're afraid that someone can take it, or if they share too much of what they know or whatever, it's going to be gone. And rather than this collaborative, creative mindset where you join with others and you share your knowledge. Something you said, Catherine, reminded me about someone who didn't know how to do Google Hangouts. I sometimes get questions that are so basic, and in my mind I'm like, how do they not know that? But then I realize, there was a period in my life where I didn't know that either. So humble down and I answer the question, and they remember that and they appreciate that, and they remember that you are giving them the time to share your knowledge. I know that I've gone to people who maybe I'm asking a question that they think is dumb and they give an attitude back. And you remember that too. It's like, okay, bye, So always remembering that we were in the same place. We didn't know all these things, and to humbly answer questions when people do ask, because they're looking up to you and they're seeing you as a role model. So rather than stopping, well, why would you ask me something stupid like that? Because that's happened to me, and I'm like, and it's funny because I just got a message on my phone on Facebook. A girl shared a picture quote that I posted yesterday, and she's like, how did you do that? So, after the hangout, I'll go tell her how I made the picture quote and thank her for sharing it. So it's already a collaboration and creativity because she already shared it, and so just why not share and stop with the egos. That's it for now.
That is so true, Sandy. And it's you guys bring so much value, at least you have to me in my life, and I want to thank you for that. And it is, gosh, I'm just so grateful for you guys. And I think that's kind of what this is about. I mean, without without you all sharing, even those the everything that you've taught me, you and Samantha and Danielle and Catherine, and I mean, it's all these little different things really have brought great value to my life, and I think that I think that's what it's about, is bringing value to others, and I think um, goes back to goes back to gratitude. And what is gratitude? What is gratuity? When we go to a restaurant, we give a tip, and we give gratitude. It's a form of currency, and I kind of like to think of gratitude as maybe a form of relationship currency. Maybe we have other value to bring, other than spending our money or our time with people. We can step into our power, and like Dan said, you know take the spotlight off of us and our success, and highlight other people's success and how they've helped us out, and it's the right thing to do, and it also is I mean, it's just natural to want that recognition, and when we can step into our power and realize that we're in a place that we can do that, I mean, you're golden. So I mean, I love this. Thanks, and I love all these thoughts. I can't agree more with everybody.
I think also having a humble attitude. I get asked to help people a lot of times, and I come from a heart of giving and caring about people, and I don't know, it's like every time I'm almost like a child that when they really acknowledge it, like there's a group I just met with the other day, and they've made me part of their group, and I'm not. And they want to take pictures and put it out there, and I'm always surprised by it because I'm not thinking, what am I going to get out of it? I'm not looking for that credit. And so when it comes, wow, it's like it feels really good inside to know and know you're bringing value with the experiences and things. And we were masterminding. We're going to be doing this big event out here in California, and actually it's another young lady that's going to do the event. And they insisted they wanted to take me to lunch, and they were all taking notes. And we were at an Olive Garden from 11:30 to 5:30, and it was just like the energy. We were all bouncing off each other, and one of the young ladies were getting ready to leave, and this is kind of funny, but she and I didn't get up the whole time we were there. The other two did. And we're leaving. She says, I have to use the restroom. She says, it's bad. And the other girl asked her, why didn't you leave? And she says, I didn't want to miss 1 minute. And that's when you know that you really bring value to others. It's not about you, but it's what you can bring to people. And I don't think there's a better compliment than that. You don't need to compliment yourself. You will get the compliments if you're doing the right things. It's kind of where I'm going with that.
That's so true, Danielle. I could just see you guys there. You painted that picture really nice. One of the things I wanted to, in our pre-mastermind discussion, Christina Irvin said that, she brought up the point of being genuine. Like, we're here, and this is sort of we're discussing, we're reading this book, we're picking up hints on how to communicate and build relationships with people, but it's not, we're not trying to teach it as a manipulative tool. It's something that Christina points out, it needs to be genuine, and that's true because people will know if you're not genuine. I mean, we're energetic beings. We totally pick up on dishonesty, like that. So, or maybe you could sneak it past us for a little while, but pretty soon we're like, I can feel it's not feeling right. So thank you for pointing that out, because when I first got into this whole arena, and I mean, I've
read books my whole life, don't get me wrong, but really, reading all these self-help books and things like this book that we're reading here, and especially this book and the title of this book and the original one, How to Win Friends and Influence People. I think I've mentioned this before, but it kind of put me off at first because I was like, it just this title sounded manipulative to me, and I wasn't even really interested in reading it in the beginning, but I had so many people tell me that it was, good material. Thankfully, I trusted those people. They had fostered a relationship with me, and I trusted them enough to go ahead and step into it because there's such wonderful information in these books, and it's not being taught in a manipulative way. You do need to be genuine. People will sniff you out if you're not. Even though we're just on the internet, don't think you can slide stuff past people just because you're not in person with them, because we can still pick it up. Energy just travels. So, but it's, gosh, I, people just get lost in this world, and Danielle, it makes you feel so good when someone recognizes you. And Samantha, you can give us credit if you want, but I'm here to give you a lot of credit. You keep this group going. You're the one that does all these, setting all this stuff up. You're the one that consistently posts, and I'm like, oh, I should have gotten over there and post. So, kudos to you. Thank you so much for all that you do, and for even, coming up with this idea, and Sandy, and, just this whole group. I love you guys so much. And those of you that join us, I mean, we would just be sitting here talking to ourselves if you guys weren't listening. So thank you so much. We do appreciate it more than you know.
Thanks, Catherine. I appreciate that, and yeah, but I mean, like you were just saying, if it was just me, I'd just be sitting here talking to myself. Where's the fun in that, right? I mean, I do enough of that when I'm not on a hangout. Sandy, did you want to jump out and say something? I thought you were unmuted.
I wanted to thank you too, because when I was talking before about asking people questions and then, being humble as opposed to having the ego, I was remembering the other day when I asked you, I'm like, Samantha must think I'm retarded or stupid, not retarded, sorry, but because I asked you how to embed a picture in a blog, and I'm like, I should know this. I did it 1,000 times in the past, but she answers that, and I feel like sometimes I'll ask people a lot of things repetitively sometimes that I should know already or I've done before. So why is she asking me again? But Samantha, you're always very patient and kind when I ask you something. So thank you.
I've got a couple of things to share that I was listening to everybody talk, and just some other books that I've read over the years. One of them, Robert Kiyosaki, he talks about in one of his series that success is a team sport, and that when we go to school, when we're little children, we're always taught, don't cheat, don't look on the person's paper next to you. You got to learn this stuff on your own. But he questions that, and he talks about that we need to learn how to cheat in life because you need a mastermind group around you. None of us are so intelligent, really, when you get down to it, that we can be gifted in every single area of life. And so really it's important that you zero in on the one area where you shine and where your experience, your gifts lie, and then develop that, and then use the skills of other people that are around you in order to support you. And just as an example, a husband and wife, that the husband completes the wife or the wife completes the husband. I know there are a lot of weaknesses that I have in my life that my wife has super strengths in, and vice versa. So anyway, that's what a mastermind group is all about. And if you're intelligent in one area, but say you're not intelligent in the area of finance, well, that's why you have a CPA or somebody that you can go to, or that's why we have lawyers, that's why we have bankers, that's why we have all these different areas of life where people have gifts, and you don't necessarily, or I don't necessarily have that gift myself, but I can go align myself with that person, and that we do need to learn how to cheat, and that's what a mastermind group is. And then another thought that comes to my mind is a picture in a book, and it's a Napoleon Hill book. It's one that people don't talk a lot about. It's called The Master Key to Success. But he has a picture in there that if you want to become successful, there's one hand reaching up to somebody who's gone before you, and another hand reaching down to somebody that's coming behind you. And so the person who you're reaching up to has more knowledge. That's the person who's gone before, and the person who's coming behind you, that's where you've learned some areas, you've learned some things, and you can reach down to the person who's coming up behind you. Kind of like what you was talking about, Sandy, that's something that you've done 1,000 times, and yet for all of a sudden you had, I don't know, call it a senior moment or whatever, but you can't remember what it was. How did I do this? This is ridiculous. I should know this, but I can't remember how to do it. And that's where you can go to Samantha or whoever, and reach up to them and say, you know what, for a moment here, I'm kind of lost. Can you help me out? And that person's not going to crucify you or slap you verbally and say, well, you dummy, you should know this. So it's a matter of us all just helping each other out and reaching up to those who've gone before, reaching down to those who are coming behind, and having a mastermind and helping each other out. So anyways, I'll turn it over to somebody else.
Great points, Dan. Kudos. That was a great I don't even know what you want to call it. That was a great story, and especially talking about Robert Kiyosaki and the things that he teaches, and how we're taught not to cheat in school, and so then we have this kind of attitude of afraid to ask for help, which is crazy, right? When in real life, it's better if you learn from someone else's mistakes than it is to make those mistakes yourself, right? Because that kind of puts you ahead in the game. And of course, as we're growing up, our parents are constantly trying to teach us things and help us keep from making those mistakes. And of course, we don't listen to our parents, but it's a great thing when we grow up a little bit and we realize that we can learn from other people who have gone before us. So I'm so glad that you brought that up, Dan. I think that's an important takeaway from this conversation. Let me just jump over to the page and share what some of the other folks are saying on here. Oh, and Catherine, I wanted to thank you for mentioning what Christina said in the pre-mastermind discussion. I was going to share that as well, but thank you for doing that. But on the event page, Christina says, humble attitude is so important. Helping others without agenda is so rewarding. The reciprocation always comes when you don't expect it, often uplifting you when you most need it. And that is so very true. So very true. I want to give you kind of an example, if you will. When I first started kind of getting an idea of what I wanted to be doing on the internet, one of the things I started doing was tutorial videos, because I started to notice that there was a lot of people, like what Sandy was just saying, is that there's things that people don't even realize that they don't know how to do, and then when they try and do it, they're like, I'm having so much trouble. So I started doing all these tutorial videos. Well, for me, I'm just like having a good time making videos on the internet, right? I didn't realize how many people it was actually affecting until I went to an event, and I would have people just coming up to me going, Samantha, you're so wonderful, and I'd be like, who is this person? But I mean, it's just amazing how that works, is that when you start to focus on helping other people, it's not even so much necessarily reciprocation as much as it is just all of a sudden you have so many more people supporting you in your efforts, and then that helps you become more successful. So I just love the fact that it talks about focusing on helping other people, because that's where the magic happens. It was one of the quotes in here. What does it say? It was where is it? Okay, so a Forbes blogger had written an article, and the title he wrote was "Giving Away Credit is a Magical Multiplier." And of course, this chapter, it talks about, giving away credit that, that other people have, done work, and you're giving that credit to them and whatnot. But we're also talking about, helping other people, giving them the help they need to have more success. And so it kind of goes both ways, but I just love that where it says it's a magical multiplier, because it absolutely is. But I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about some methods for doing that. I know that one of the things that a lot of people struggle with is that they come online, they're trying to do business or grow their network, or whatever it is, whether they're promoting something that they want to sell, or they're promoting themselves to create a multi-level marketing business, or whether they have a pizza joint and they're trying to market that online. Is that we all hear that. We all hear, help others if to help yourself. Or what's the quote that if you help enough people get what they want, you'll get what you want, right? So we all hear that, but then we wonder, okay, well, how do I help people? What do I do? And in our last discussion, let's see, what was our, I want to just kind of make sure that I say this correctly. Our last discussion, we talked about gaining affinity, or and it was kind of a similar topic, but one of the things I kind of wanted to mention is that when you're marketing a business, or you're marketing yourself, or doing something online, is you want to first decide, who's your target audience, okay? And the reason that is so important is because once you decide who your target audience is, then you start to figure out, okay, how can I help them? What can I do to help this specific group of people have more success? And so then once you kind of define that, and you figure out what those questions are, then it makes it so much easier for you to know what you should be doing in order to help those folks, and to gain influence, if you will, or make friends, or network with people. It helps you know who to network with. It helps you know how to help them. It helps you do all of those different things. So in here it says, let's see. So if we talk about how do we do these things? Here's one of the things it talked about, okay? It's often said that to be successful, you must surround yourself with successful people. While there is truth to this statement, few see that there are two ways to approach this positioning. Either A, you can seek friendships with those who are already successful, or you can seek success for those who are already friends. Whichever you choose, one thing is certain: your success is always commensurate with the number of people who you want to see successful. So a lot of times you'll hear people talk about, make sure you get connected to the authorities in your niche, or the leaders in your niche, right? But one thing that I've also been doing is I've been looking for other people who are kind of on the same marketing level, or the same leadership level, or similar within, maybe they're a little bit more successful, or just a little bit less successful, or equally successful to myself, and looking for ways how I can help that person become even more successful. How can I help this person lift them up a little bit more? How can I help them spread the word further? How can I do something to help them in some way? And so I wanted to just kind of bring that up a little bit and ask you guys, what do you think on that subject? Because, it kind of says a little bit further along in here that, when you connect with people that are like ultra successful, it's great that you are connecting with them, but yet since they're up at that so much higher level, you're not going to be able to expect as much reciprocation from them as you would from somebody who's maybe closer to you on the level of success. What do you guys think about that? Maybe give some ideas of what you guys think as far as how to help people, or how to lift people up.
I really think that that's a great question, and Dan illustrated it really well with his analogy of having somebody that's just a little bit, that has their anchor a little bit above in the mountain. But if you look at mountain climbers, what do they also have? They have a trail or a hook and line that's pulling somebody else up at the same time, and there's always somebody just a little bit ahead that actually takes the weight and balances the whole I don't know even what to call it, you know, what you're trying to accomplish, climbing the hill, so to speak. And the same holds true here, because that's something that I've learned through the years, that they've always recommended. Yeah, a lot of times your leaders, they're so far up there, and it's not that they've forgotten where you're at, but their level of where they're at is so beyond that finding somebody that's maybe just accomplished something that you're trying to get to, they're going to be more fresh. Their ideas are fresher. They're still just overcoming those feelings of fear and emotions and things that make them a better actual teacher to you. And the faster you can turn around like, wow, I've learned something, and pass that on to somebody, it's a rewarding feeling. So it's an important element of growing in anywhere in life, whether it be in business or in our home or anything. It doesn't have to just apply to business.
I'd like to jump out with just some real practical, a few little practical tips for you guys, because not everyone really understands, and I certainly didn't when I came online, like, how do I support my friends online, you know? So likes are good, you know, comments are better, shares are even better, follows are really great, you know. But when you, like on Facebook, if you're on Facebook, when you share something that you really like, one of the things you can do, very simple, is just, you know, when you share it, just put thank you and then the name, and hopefully you're their friend, so it kind of, you know, highlights it and pulls it up. It sort of notifies them that you've mentioned them somewhere, and then they'll see it in their notifications, you know, but it's giving them credit for this, whatever it is that you're sharing that you enjoyed so much. So thank you so-and-so for sharing this, you know, I really enjoyed it. That's one way. Or over on Google Plus, you can put the little plus sign, excuse me, and then the person's name, and it'll do the same thing. So it's a little different, but the same concept. Sam, you mentioned, and I see over on our page that we have several people from Mentoring for Free here with us today, and just love them. And they have been providing, you know, free training and value for people for 10 years now, and they're very good at working together, sharing others' posts and making comments and likes and stuff, and giving credit, you know, to people. And that's such a, you know, it's so good to see a team of people, a group of people working together like that. And that's what we do here on the panel. You know, we support each other, and you know, you never know. Networking, it's not what you know, it's who you know. So just this week, I'll give you an example. I have, I don't know, 4, possibly 5 pages on Facebook, different, you know, subjects or whatever that I'm talking about or interested in, or just a place to hang out and breathe peace, you know. But I had someone that shared one of my posts, and he did exactly what I just said. He's, you know, he gave me credit and said thank you. He's like, I can't take credit for this. This is so and so. And overnight, I had 50 new people on my page overnight. I mean, just because he did that. So it's that made me. I was like, whoa, 50 people overnight, you know. It can really, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And if you take a moment just to be real with someone, you know, and let them know that you're a real person on the other side of the computer screen, maybe even pick up the phone and talk to them. I remember when I used to be so afraid of the phone. For all the people out there that are just getting into this stuff, and you're petrified of the phone, and it feels like it weighs, you know, 12,000 pounds. Find a way to give people value, because when you can pick up the phone and you're not asking them for anything, you can just pick up the phone and give them value. That's when you'll lose your fear of the phone. That's it. I'll hush now.
Yeah, I'll jump out. I believe in a law called the law of the harvest, and basically, you know, when you help somebody out, it doesn't always come back to you necessarily monetarily. It doesn't have to come back in monetary terms, but I know this is just my perspective, but it is the perspective that I hold. But the reason why I've arrived at this is because of different talks that I've heard other mentors make, and where they're talking about they got involved with the business and they went out, they worked real hard, they helped a lot of people, and they may have built a whole string of people in a leg in their downline, maybe as many as, who knows, 10 people, and then all those 10 people quit, but one person rolls up to them, and that one person goes on to become extremely successful and makes them a lot of money. And that's a principle. And from my perspective, that's called the law of the harvest. And what that law basically says is you can put your deposits into one bank on one side of town, but you can draw your reserves out from another bank on another side of town. And if I'm putting that right, and if I'm making it to where you can understand what I'm saying, but when you put good into other people, and you're not looking for a reward necessarily, that good things will come to you, but it may come in another avenue from another place. And hopefully I'm putting that to the point where you understand what I'm saying. But it's putting good into other people, not expecting a great reward out of it, just because you're a human being and they're a human being and they deserve some respect and your love. That you are rewarded in other areas of your life, that good comes from it. So anyways, I'll turn it over to somebody else. I'll shush.
I saw something that sorry, Donna. Hi, Donna. Thanks. I saw something you posted on the Google page there about when a person gets on the other side of know everything, then they learn they don't know anything. And that reminds me of that, I think it's a Socrates quote where he says, you know, the more I know, the more I realize I don't know. And that's one of my favorite quotes ever, because there are moments where, you know, I'm like, I got to this place and I know all these things now, but then I'm like, but I don't know anything. Like, it's just like, it really, there's this feeling like when you do know where you really don't know anything. And so it makes sense to humble ourselves, because even, you know, while we're helping somebody succeed in some way, we don't know what they have. Like, we may, like the ego guy may say, well, oh, they don't know anything, I'm not going to answer their question. And he's missing out big time, because that person has something else to offer. Maybe they don't know how to make the Google page, but they maybe know how to do accounting, and they can be your accountant someday. You know, you never know what the other person can bring. So it's important to be humble and open, because if we're thinking, oh, well, I'm better than this person and I'm not going to help them because they should know this, then we're missing out big time, because everyone has something to offer and something to bring to the table. So that's just another important reminder. You know, the people who are out there alone thinking they succeeded on their own are just missing out big time on all the support and help they could have, and extra help surrounding them. So those are my little add-ons for now.
I wanted to make a quick comment. You know, when Dan was talking about the what was I going to say? Sorry, guys. No, maybe it wasn't Dan. Was it Catherine? You were talking about giving kudos to other people, you know, when you share something from them. And, you know, one thing that I've noticed is that I think that there is kind of this fear. A lot of people have this fear that if they actually share directly from someone else, and we see a lot of people who will just take someone else's kind of post and then repost it as if it's their own, instead of saying, okay, I got this from so-and-so. It's like they have this fear that if they acknowledge where the information came from, that somehow that is going to take away from their own success, that maybe if they share where that actually came from, that all their followers might go find that other person. Whereas in reality, the way that it works is that when you acknowledge something from someone else and you're like, oh, this is so awesome, this person did this, and isn't this post great, and then you say a little bit of a reason why you think it's so awesome, is that then you lift that person up for one, and then your followers see you as a person who is going to lift people up, so that kind of lifts you up in their eyes. And then the other aspect of that is you also have to remember is that, yeah, there is going to be maybe a few people that are following you that might go and decide that they're going to follow that other person, but they're not going to stop following you. You know what I'm saying? And then it could be also that if they do decide to do business with someone else, they weren't planning on doing it with you anyway, and that you're not actually losing anything. You're actually gaining some respect. You're gaining some influence in the marketplace, if you will. But I wanted to just kind of put a couple of comments on here, or share a couple people's comments. Marcia said on here, she says, I so agree that people can feel your energy and when you're not being genuine. I think that she was talking about when Catherine was mentioning that. And, you know, and that's such a big thing right there, is because in this book it said, you know, the fact that it's called Win Friends and Influence People as if you're doing something undermining, is that it's all about that level of how genuine you are in your actions. Because if you truly are just specifically doing something just so that you can get something out of it, then you're not going to have as great a success with that as what you would if you truly are caring about other people's successes and you are working towards helping people have more success. Then you're going to have a lot more results from that. And thanks, Sandy, for sharing that other comment. I want to share what Dan says on here. Dan Sisek says, well, we take a look at regular business ideas out there. One or two people come up with starting a business. Then they need to find or develop the capital for that business, and then they need to find people, or they need people to help maybe say build the business, to house the business. So it's a collective of people and ideas, usually when it's in the infancy stages. And you know, and that's a good point, Dan, is that if you really want to have a successful business, you need other people that are going to help you bring all of the pieces together. Sometimes you're going to have investors. Sometimes you're going to have to find a place that you're going to lease a spot from, or find a company you can lease from, and you have to be able to communicate properly and work together with other people to negotiate the best deal for yourself as well as for that other person. And we talked about in previous discussions about that collaborative working together to get what's the word I'm looking for, you know, just so it benefits all parties involved. And I think that there was one discussion where we were talking specifically about sales and being a salesperson, and that, you know, we all have this kind of idea in our head that sales people are like sleazy and pushy and all of this kind of thing, but when in reality, you know, we want to be a salesperson who brings two options together to benefit both parties involved. So that's what we're talking about when we're talking about this collaborative effort. Let's see what else we have people on here. Oh, thanks for the comment, Tiberius. I love it. Yeah, I'd love it if we were #1 hangout, right? Good call again. Thanks for the smiling faces. Awesome. Dan also says, also when I train new employees, I need to cheat sort of the share. I'm not sure what you're saying there. Need to cheat sort of the share the ways and how our business is done. They don't come in just knowing how to do it. They may have the general idea of how it may work. I'm not sure exactly what you're saying there, but if you're saying maybe to remember that they're brand new and that that you can't just expect them to know something right off the bat. I don't know. Is that what you're trying to say there, Dan? And then, and Donna Allen, yeah, Sandy, you already shared her comment, didn't you? Oh, and Chris says, Zig Ziglar, if you help enough people get what they want, you definitely will get what you want. By the way, you're all incredible people. Feel free to have me on. No problem. Awesome, Chris. Thank you. Thanks for being here, by the way, too. And let's see. Okay. Okay, so I'm just kind of reading through the comments. I want to make sure and acknowledge everybody who's adding something of value to this conversation. Chris again says, nothing is created without the aid of other people. Teamwork is what manifests ideas in abundance. Working together to change one life at a time is one of the most rewarding things you can do to create good karma and abundance in your own life, because you're obeying the law of balance and sacrifice. Absolutely. And then Tiberius says, like a team sport, or like a sports team, those on the same team are most likely to support its members, but pure competition occurs between competing teams. Awesome, Dan. Okay, gotcha. Yes, basically that. Okay, excellent, guys. Thank you so much for adding to the conversation. Wow, we're already at the top of the hour. Let me just get back over here to where I can see everybody. So, okay, any other final thoughts before we wrap up for today? Oh, Danielle had to jump off. Okay, no problem. Yeah, so jump out, share any final thoughts that you have before we wrap up for today, and then we can close down.
I just want to say that, you know, that I was very anti-internet and very anti, like I didn't want a cell phone. I was very anti-technology in the beginning, but this is just, the internet is such an amazing thing. It has connected me to so many incredible people, and I've made so many, you know, close personal friends through the internet. Yes, I have a lot of, you know, people that I'm mainly acquaintances with, but you know, it levels the playing field. Anybody that wants to do a business now can do international business because of the internet. So it's the influence that you can build on here is tremendous, but it can also work the other way for you. You know, word of mouth, everybody knows that word of mouth is how a business either grows or fails. And on the internet, that word of mouth spreads really quick. So just be careful what you put out there. Remember that there's real people on the other side, and just try to always, you know, go back to the golden rule, treat them as you would want to be treated. If you've ever been left in the lurch and made to feel unappreciated, then you know not to do that to other people. And that certainly carries over from, quote, real life to internet life. So thank you, everyone, for joining us. It's been a wonderful discussion, and please join us in our pre-mastermind discussions. We always talk about the chapter that we're reading before we come on Saturday morning. So thank you, everyone, for coming, and we'll see you next week.
You know, in the book, there's or in this chapter we just read, there's a section where it talks about the people at like the Academy Awards, and how that goes into a you know, the person winning the Academy Award or a music award, whatever it is, going into a string of thank yous for all the people who were behind the scenes, who helped them. And you know, you got the beautiful person, the person that's out in front, but then you got all the people without faces, so to speak, behind the scenes. But without the people without faces, the beautiful person out front really couldn't shine and be in the place where they're at. And so yeah, it takes an army or a team of people behind the scenes, so to speak, in order to you know, to make the person who is in the spotlight to shine. And you know, just so it takes a team. I guess that's what it really comes down to me. It takes a team of people that and every single person in that team or in that line is absolutely necessary for the whole. Kind of like the Borg, okay? You know, 7 of 9 or whatever. So thank you, everybody, for coming today. Have a great day.
That's awesome, Dan, like the Borg. In a positive way, though, right? Oh, okay. Jason, did you want to jump out real quick? Go ahead.
Well, again, I want to say thank you to everybody, but also I kind of have a little bit of a different take on this, and I think you know, there might be some people out there that this rings home with. I've you know, I've always been, well, as a kid, I was always pretty confident, and and I really enjoyed watching other. I felt like I could do everything just okay, and I really enjoyed watching others succeed and watching other kids, um, you know, have that success in school and in activities and things like that. So a lot of times I would sit back and just watch, and I'd also use that and learn. And so then it was my turn. I could do the best I could as well. Um, but as kids, we don't know all this stuff. We don't know how to reciprocate that, that help and that gratitude. And I guess for me, over the years, I mean, early in the conversation, you were asking, well, who does that? Who wants to be around people that are always, keeping the success to themselves, so to speak. And I guess I sort of experienced that because after a while, I was as a kid just looking for like at least one best friend that would be loyal and would be, would reciprocate the help and the good nature. And eventually, I did find become real good friends with someone, but I didn't realize until later on in the relationship that they were the type of person who liked the spotlight and liked to always be the center of attention. And for me, that was okay because I wasn't the type of person that needed that. But I didn't realize that all the time that I was in that relationship, I wasn't receiving that nurturing part of the relationship. It was a one-sided relationship, and that really had an effect on my life. And it's interesting in this just short chapter. I mean, it brings a lot of that to light for me, and really helps me to believe again, in people, and and I just want to encourage everybody and congratulate them also for being part of this mastermind, and encourage them to, if they're not getting the results in a relationship that they have, widen your prospects, so to speak, and join masterminds like this, because grown-ups that are looking for this information and looking to looking for that camaraderie and understand this, now they can, and they will, be there to help you. So, I don't know. It's just a little bit different take on it. But this has really gone far for me to help me kind of reignite that belief that I can surrender the gratitude and surrender the credit freely, like I used to love to do, and not worry about it being so draining on myself. So anyway, that's all I kind of wanted to say. Thanks, Samantha.
Thanks for sharing that, Jason. I really appreciate that, and I think that helps a lot of people as well. Sandy, did you want to jump out? Have anything you wanted to add before we wrap up for today?
I'm good. I want to thank everybody for coming and all the interaction on the page. It's awesome. We have a nice community going on. Thanks, everyone who contributed.
Awesome, guys. Thank you all so very, very much. We appreciate you hanging out with us, and thank you, everyone who added to our conversation. We look forward to connecting with you again next week on our Saturday Morning Mastermind, and you can always find the live event page by visiting SaturdayMorningMastermind.com, and I usually change it to next week's link either on Mondays or Tuesday morning, and that way you can easily find it. Also, you can connect with us in our community, which is MindsetMasteryCollective.com. That's our Google Plus community. That's where you'll find our pre-mastermind discussion, and you can share in that community as well. Add your thoughts, add your add your quote, pictures. If you write articles or blog about personal development in any way, or you do videos on personal development, you can share those in that community. We're glad to have you. And then I also wanted to just give Chris a shout out. Chris Peters, he just said that he might be interested in participating with us on the panel. We would love to have you. Just send me a message, and then next week I can give you a link so you can jump on here with us. We'd love to add you to the conversation. So it's about 10 after 11. We went over a little bit, so I just want to wrap this up and say thank you. Have a wonderful, awesome, and amazing day, and we'll see you again next week on the Saturday Morning Mastermind. Bye for now.